Me? A princess? Shut up!
It seems like only yesterday we were introduced to the bushy-haired and gorgeous Mia Thermopolis Rinaldi. Here's one thing you might not know, though. Anne Hathaway's journey to becoming a respected Hollywood actress was not nearly as glamorous as the Princess Diaries. The actress has had to face some dark battles in her personal life that she tried to keep private for as long as she could.
So I just did a play. It was a one-woman show. And I just had a lot of stuff just kind of hitting me in my personal life. And I didn't think I could go on. It's just like something really hard had happened that day.
But it was impossible to stay silent when the one she loved betrayed her in a way that was so shocking, even the FBI had to get involved. But why did Hollywood choose to turn their back on Anne after everything that she had been through? Remember to like this video and subscribe to Rumour Juice. Give that notification bell a click too, so you can be the first to know when we upload new videos. Anne admitted there was a time in her life that she had an immense dislike for herself, and she suffered from crippling anxiety and depression. It was just a mindset. I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know how to love anybody. During her time in college, she used alcohol as her crutch to deal with anxiety and a lack of self-love. When the actress was cast in her first role in a film, she was told by the producers to make sure she didn't pick up any more weight, which, as she understood it, was that she had to lose weight. Just as she was beginning to feel proud of herself for booking her first movie, she was immediately beaten down by the idea that her body wasn't good enough. As her career in Hollywood began to progress, the actress leaned harder on alcohol to get through the stress of her growing fame.
It's a funny thing. It's a funny thing growing up. And you ask me what's different, and I think about who I was when I made the Princess Diaries and how little confidence I had, but how ambitious I was. And those two things were not a comfortable mix for a very long time.
I went to college and I drank a great deal, she said. By the time of The Devil Wears Prada, I was drinking more. While Anne was in the process of climbing the Hollywood ladder, she met Raffaello Follieri around 2004. For the actress, it was love at first sight. He is so good looking. He looks like a god, she said about her new boyfriend. Raffaello, it seemed, was the perfect man. He was handsome and had made his own fortune from his real estate property investment company that he had started when he moved to New York from Italy just a few years before meeting Anne. The couple graced the red carpet, and Anne beamed brightly next to her man. She seemed completely besotted with Raffaello and couldn't be prouder to stand by his side for the world to see. Over the next 4 years, the couple were spotted having luxurious holidays, and it seemed that Anne was being nothing but completely spoiled by her boyfriend. 4 years into their relationship, it was as though things just couldn't get better for the couple, until Anne got a phone call that would change her life forever, and everything quickly came crashing down. In 2007, Hathaway was told that Raffaello was being sued for over $1 million for fraud by one of his investors. There was no doubt that the actress was confused by what she was told. Why would anyone want to sue her boyfriend? He was a good businessman, and he was an honest man. There must have been some mistake. Unfortunately, the actress could not have been more wrong.
And I was so scared, and I was smoking. I'm sorry to tell everybody that, but I was just smoking my nerves away, and I just wasn't nourishing myself.
Raffaello settled the lawsuit, but this was not the last time he would face accusations of fraud. It seems that the funds his investors had given him that were supposed to go towards real estate properties had been conveniently misplaced. Rather than use the money the way he told his investors he would, Raffaello used the money to fund his luxurious lifestyle. With an overwhelming amount of evidence, Anne was forced to face the truth. The man that she had loved for 4 years was never the person she thought he was. He was a stranger, a thief, and he had manipulated through all this time. The actress was devastated and made the impossibly difficult decision to leave Raffaello. Just 10 days after Anne packed her bags and left the man she loved so wholeheartedly, Raffaello was arrested by the FBI and formally charged with fraud. Her life had been turned upside down. To add insult to injury, the FBI thoroughly questioned her too, in order to confirm that she had no idea what her ex-boyfriend had been up to all these years.
How much do you think she knew about what was going on with you and your business?
I don't think she knew anything, because we didn't have a business conversation.
You never discussed work at all?
Never.
Hathaway was forced to hand over thousands of dollars worth of jewelry that her ex had given her, and authorities seized Hathaway's private journals as part of their investigation. Raffaello was sentenced to 4 years in prison, but for Anne, it was as though she was sentenced to a life of shame and heartache. How was she to recover from such a betrayal that was so public? The tabloids went wild, and everyone knew that Anne Hathaway had fallen in love and been duped by a con man. The worst thing that happens to you can be the best thing for you if you don't let it get the best of you. Despite it all, Anne chose to hold her head up high, even though she was getting flack from some of her fellow celebrities too. After she hosted the Oscars with James Franco, in a performance that was smashed by critics for being totally cringeworthy, it seemed that some people in Hollywood weren't very impressed with the actress anymore. She was also dubbed a theater kid by writer Richard Lawson, who also added that she, quote, wildly overcompensates every time. Even social media had a field day, with the Hatha haters coming out in full force, using the hashtag HathaHate.
And if you don't love yourself, when someone else says horrible things to you, a part of you is always going to believe them. Yep. And so then it was like, okay, I don't want to believe these people. I don't want to agree with them on any level.
It seemed that for a while, people couldn't quite figure out Anne Hathaway and assumed she was coming off as disingenuous. So rather than make an effort to understand her, some folks in Hollywood turned against her. After the release of Les Miserables in 2012, she decided to take a break from all the chaos and mayhem of fame, focus on her personal life, and heal the wounds that had been left to fester since her very public heartbreak a few years earlier.
I live my life hoping the best for absolutely everyone, no matter how they feel about me. And when you live that way, it's amazing how beautiful every day can be.
She admitted that she was looking forward to being single and taking time to heal. And then Adam Shulman walked into her life. The producer and jewelry designer sparked such strong feelings in Anne that she was willing to put her broken heart on the line and risk it all. Adam totally ruined my plan. I was really actually looking forward to a little alone time. And then I fell in love like a fool. Anne said that she knew from the second she met Adam that he was the love of her life, and even said to one of her friends that she was going to marry him. I found that the love I found for him made me more trusting of everyone, and the more I started to see who I had become. I had lost track of myself during those years, and I actually started to see who I had become. That's when things got tricky and ugly. She explained that she had to go on a serious journey of self-love and forgiveness. For a long time, there had been a part of herself that didn't want to trust anyone after the public shame she had experienced after Raffaello. Her new relationship blossomed. According to Anne, it was the support from Adam, her friends and family, that helped her develop into a person who was more comfortable in her own skin and being covered by the press. She learned to accept her past, to love and trust again, and over time, she started to let people into her life and into her heart.
I was allowing myself to really feel safe in a way that I'd never let myself feel since I was a child, you know?
Anne and Adam married in a very private and intimate ceremony in 2012, and just a few years later, Anne gave birth to her first son, Jonathan. But the actress's journey to motherhood was not as easy as everyone may think. When announcing her second pregnancy, Hathaway took to Instagram with a post that said, "For everyone going through infertility and conception hell, please know it was not a straight line to either of my pregnancies. Sending you extra love." She then opened up about her battle with infertility and admitted she felt tormented whenever she saw pregnant women when she was struggling to conceive. Anne described going through infertility hell and was left feeling broken and devastated when she failed to fall pregnant. Each time I was trying to get pregnant and it wasn't going my way, someone else would manage to conceive. I knew intellectually that it didn't happen just to torment me, but to be honest, it felt a little bit like it did. While we don't know his exact date of birth, Anne confirmed the name of her second son, Jack, in an episode of Live with Kelly and Ryan.
So, last time you were here, you were pregnant, and now you are not. You have a baby Jack.
Now I have a beautiful almost 11-month-old boy, but I was pregnant when I made The Witches.
She's remained a very private mom and shares things online about her two sons very rarely. In a candid interview, she opened up about quitting drinking for her children and doesn't plan to have another drink until they're both off to college. While she didn't think she ever had a drinking problem, she confessed to getting horrendous hangovers, which would last up to 5 days.
And at the end of it, I said, listen, I've got a confession. I was hungover the entire time. And he just goes, oh, really? I couldn't tell. And then 2 days later, we had another meeting, and I showed up. He said, oh, now I can.
The hangovers would make her so ill she couldn't work properly, and it would be almost impossible to stay present and focused. I did one school run one day where I dropped him off at school. I wasn't driving, but I was hungover, and that was enough for me. I didn't love that one. She went on to explain that the time she has with her kids is precious, and she wants to make sure she's present and the best mother her boys could ask for. The biggest lesson we can all learn from Anne Hathaway is the way she overcame her disastrous breakup with Raffaello Follieri. Rather than allowing the experience to taint her outlook on love, she chose to open her heart to love and trust again. And now she really is living her own happily ever after.
If I'm gonna give advice, it's figure out who you are, forgive yourself the failures that you experience along the way to becoming yourself. They're so important.